If you're a business owner that work with customers or that have clients or that work with other people, this video is for you because today we're going to be talking about the importance of focusing on your customers. And the reason behind that is because if you're in business, if you're communicating with other people, if you have clients that you are doing services for or indoor selling products for, this video is for you because one thing that will help you as a business owner is to focus on your customer. As you focus on your customer becomes the focus of your business. So get your pen, get your notebook. We're starting with this incredible point because I just learned something. I want to come on here and share the importance of focus on your customer. And so that way you all don't make the same mistake that I've made. Nonetheless, let's get it started. So I'm your host. My name is Terryl Humphrey, and welcome to the Phase Knowledge Podcast, live streaming. And so what we are talking about today is the importance of focusing on your customers. And when I started to understand that you have to focus on your customers, the more people you come encounter with, you have to learn their weaknesses. You have to learn their strengths. You have to learn everything about them. So that way, as you are presenting and preparing in advance, you are preparing for your ideal customer. Now, I'll give you a prime example. My biggest challenge was identifying my customer. Who is my customer, who I want to serve, and how can I go about serving them? And what I recognize about focusing on your customers is that everybody cannot be my customer. And I learned that, and it really hit home when I started to speak to everybody, yet everyone didn't have the problem that I was trying to solve, nor did they have the money to pay for it. In addition to that, I wasn't as clear as I'm getting more clear today. And so when I started to see that and started to notice that, the focus of my customers became so important to me. And I give you a prime example. Today, I actually went to my school to get a book. And I was speaking to the store manager and I asked her a question. I was like, well, I'm in business management and we talk a lot about leadership and just learning everything that goes into business. I was like, what is the biggest thing that you learn while being a manager or being a store manager? And she said, you have to learn your people. You have to understand your people and you have to recognize what your people need. And in my mind, I'm like, wait, hold on. I didn't think about it right then and there. But as I left, I was like, that's the same concept that you have to have when you're working with your customers. The people that's on your team, I don't have a team just yet. In the future, I am going to have a team. Nonetheless, focusing on your customers is the most critical thing that to ever exist. And when I started to really replay it, I'm like, hold on. Why is that important? It's important because when you focus on your customers, you identify their needs. That's the first one I want to hit on is that when you identify your customers, when you focus on your customers, you identify their needs. So number one, you identify your customers' needs. And so when you start to understand what your customers need, like for instance, we help leaders gain more exposure, share their story, and attract the right customers. What did I say? The need of my customers, they need more exposure for their business. They already have an established business. They already have an established skill. They just need more people to learn about the establishment that already exists. And so when I started to understand that a lot of people don't fully understand how to market their business accordingly, how to bring in more people, how to attract the right customers. And when I started to see that, I'm like, wait, hold on. At first, I was helping leaders launch their podcast with confidence. But then the pushback that I got as I'm focusing on my customers and hearing the feedback and adapting to what they're saying, I'm literally seeing a resistance. It's kind of like I have a resistance band. Hold on. It's kind of like I have a resistance band. This right here is the band. And this one, it's not like a skinny one. It's not like a regular rubber band where you can stretch it. Now, this one, it has some layer to it. This one has some power behind it. So as you are stretching it, you have to really stretch stretch it. You have to really pull it. You see, when I started to understand that I was stretching my customers the wrong way, I'm like, hold on, I need to adjust. I need to pivot. I need to change what I'm doing because my customers already have an established business. They already have something that they're familiar with. So for me to come in and to help them learn a new skill, yes, it's overwhelming. Nonetheless, being overwhelming does not do nothing for their business. What it does is that it creates a problem. It creates friction. Friction is something that causes people not to do anything. And when I started to see that consistently, I'm like, man, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to change. Maybe I need to adapt. Maybe I need to focus on my customers more. It wasn't what they were saying that was making the difference. It was what they wasn't saying. Oh, I want to launch my podcast. Oh, I've been wanting to launch my podcast for quite some time. People been telling me to launch my podcast, but I never just sat down and launched their podcast. And majority of the entrepreneurs that I come encounter with already have their business. And so for me to come in and talk about my business and help them with their podcast, it's like, well, it's not complimentary. It's not pushing them. It's really pulling them. In other words, it's not easy. It's challenging. Everything that's new is challenging. Yet I want to make the services and products less overwhelming. So when I started to see that, I was like, okay, cool. What can I do different? What can I do different? And how can I really focus on my customers? As I started to get feedback and I started to hear what people are saying, how they're responding, what they say, and how they go about saying it, I started to recognize, I was like, wait, hold on. Exposure is a form of marketing. Hold on. Somebody say, oh, yeah. Go ahead, join in. Share this live with people. I started to recognize that a lot of businesses are not gaining the right exposure so they can get the right customers. And so it's not necessarily that they don't have the product. In fact, I go around just looking at different businesses like, wow, this is a great business. Wow, this is a phenomenal business. I keep in consideration, I'm still in the beginning phase as well. And so my biggest problem was trying to figure out what the product was. And now that I know what the product is, I have to continue to market it, continue to put it out, continue to attract the right customers. Over time, the right customers will come because I'm continuously putting out the message. I have the message now in addition to the product. A lot of people have the product without the messaging. And so now the exposure is very limited. And so I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, why is it that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners have the product, have the thing that's working, but it's not working because it's not getting in front of the right people. And when I started to see that, I was like, oh, that's the change. That's the focus I need to focus on. The customers that I'm focusing on, entrepreneurs who already have the product. They already have their business. They already have existing customers coming in. But the thing about existing customers is that they only relying on word of mouth. And I started learning these terminologies such as the dinosaur time or referral and all these different things. What is called foot traffic, which is a great source to bring in more customers. In addition to that, a lot of entrepreneurs or majority of entrepreneurs are not familiar with the social media space. My focus was to learn how to really gain the exposure for my business. And then when I noticed that it's working, I didn't recognize why I was working. So I'm constantly asking, like, where did you find me at? Like, how did you come about the Phase Knowledge podcast? How did you hear about me? How did you see me? Like, I'm constantly asking how, because I want to know so I can do more of that. I want to know so I can not only do more, but I can be more effective with it, more efficient with it. And so when people reach out, be like, hey, can I get on the podcast? I'm like, where did you find me at? Where did you find me at? I give you a prime example. As I'm focusing on the customer experience or focusing on the customer, I recently had one cancel on me. And it was surprising because I'm like, dang, like, why you cancel? And so I asked for feedback. I'm like, all right, so we can do better for next time. What encouraged you to cancel? The reason why I asked that question is because the feedback helps me grow. I went to this restaurant. My wife and I had ordered something. I was just there sitting, and they had the Google review there. And I literally asked them. I said, "Why do y'all have it right here? Like y'all printed it out so y'all can give it to the tables. Like, are y'all able to see the feedback in real time? Are y'all able to receive that?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How does it help y'all business? How does it help just overall?" He said, "Whenever corporate, because he was talking about corporate, whenever corporate receive a negative feedback, we instantly work on it because people are giving us feedback." And when I saw that, I said, man, they don't focus on the customers. They're focused on the customer experience, and they focus on improvement. They can only improve if they receive the feedback. And they just stuck with me. I'm like, oh, that's important. If you're going to be in business, you have to focus on your customers. Your customers is the priority. Your customers is come first. Your customers it should be the focus around everything that you're doing. And so when I started to do that, I'm like, all right, cool. I need to understand the focus around my customers so that way the experience can be seamless. Like it could be less overwhelming. It could be, hey, you getting reminders, hey, you get notifications and things of that nature. What my biggest challenge is what I'm assuming. I hate to assume because like I don't fully know, but my guess and assumption is that maybe I'm sending out too many reminders. Maybe the reminders I'm sending is too much and it becomes overwhelming. So as I'm focusing on the customers, yes, I'm focused on the customers, but I have to also be more considerate or keep in mind of their experience. I don't want to make them overwhelmed. However, I want to help them be reminded of what's going on. And so when you identify your customer needs, you want to remove the restraint. Did I spell it right? Yeah. In other words, remove the problem that people are only focusing on. And so when I started to see that, I was like, oh, wait, hold on. First off, it's working. Okay. First off, it's working. People are reaching out and they want to get on the podcast, want to share a story, want to gain more exposure, want to attract the right customers. It's working. So as I'm focusing on my customers, I'm recognizing what's working, what's not working, what can be improved, what's already working. Why? Because the focus on my customers only come from me focusing on their journey. And so when I started to see that, I'm like, wait, hold on. First off, it's working because people are reaching out. That's first and first and foremost. People are reaching out, which is great. People are listening to the podcast. People are finding the podcast. People are searching the podcast. That's working. Okay, what else is working? What else is working is that they are reaching out. They're sending emails. They're interested in being on the podcast. Okay, so it's easy to find me. Okay, cool. Or it's easy to communicate with me. Okay, cool. In addition to that, as I'm recognizing, okay, what's working, I see what's working, which means something is already working. Then I go to the other side. Hold on. This would be a good illustration for me to draw. Hold on. There we go. Hold on. Let me go to the other side. Hold on. I appreciate you. Bro, holla at me. I'll tell you where you are ultimately headed in your vision. Let's network. Let's work. Hey, man, shoot me a message, bro. Shoot me a message, man. I appreciate you for joining in. Drop your name too, man, so I can say your name. But yeah, I appreciate you for coming in. So I give you a promise up. All right, so let me draw this right quick. All right, so cool. You got what's working on one side. What's working. And then on the other side, you got what's not working. Okay, with this is called reflecting, right? You have to reflect on your own business and what's working, do more of. What's not working, adjust. Cool. Okay. What's working? People are finding me. All right, there's one. People are reaching out. Shoot me a message, bro. Speaking of reaching out, shoot me a message. Measure and improve. Oh yeah. Hold on. With what we talking about. Yeah, absolutely, bro. People reach out. Okay. I reply. What else? What else? People are finding me. People are reaching out. People. Hold on. God, dog, that's a little bit too crowded. Hold on. Let me do that one again. Hold on. All right. So, people are reaching out, and they shoot me a message, they shoot me an email, they shoot me a DM. I literally had somebody okay, it's mind-blowing. People find me on different platforms, and I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok, I'm on X, I'm on YouTube, Instagram. There's another platform called Social Substack, and like there's all these different platforms. And what I recognize is that everyone's not going to come from one particular platform. In fact, I learned this from a billionaire. He used the terminology omnipresent. You have to be everywhere because you never know where your customer's going to come. And and when he said omnipresent, I'm like, what's omnipresent? I'm like, bro, what is that? I don't even know what that is. I literally asked that, and he was like, you got to be everywhere. And I'm like, what you mean? It's not the fact that online is the only thing. It's more so that online multiplies in person, because when you in person, then you continue to be online, people continue to see you, and people eventually become more customers. I'm like, okay. I digress. So what else is working? Oh, okay. So now we'll go to the other side. So I wrote 3 things. People are finding me. People are reaching out. Finding you is completely different than reaching out, because I can go to Google. Let's just say, what's the store? Walmart. Let's say Walmart, because I worked at Walmart, so Walmart came to mind. Let's just say I want to reach out to the CEO of Walmart. If I reach out to them, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna have to go through like gatekeepers. Gatekeepers are like their assistants or the managers or anybody that I have to go through to get to the CEO. Whereas if people reach out, when I find him, okay, finding him is not a problem. It's when I reach out, hey, my name is Terryl Humphrey, and I'm the host of The Phase Knowledge Podcast, and I would love to learn more about how you turn failure or your setbacks into success. And I shoot him a message, and not to say that he won't do this, but I'm not sure. This is just an example. When people reach out, it's easy to find you. It's easy to communicate with you. Failure is knowledge. Absolutely, bro. What's your name, man? So I can say it, so I can shout you out, bro. And when people reach out, people are reaching out because it's easy. I go on a lot of different platforms trying to find people, and I can't find their contact information. I'm like, bro, that defeat the purpose. How can you be on this platform and not have easy access for people to join, or people to reach out to you, people to communicate with you? I don't know. What's his name? Mike Jones. Mike Jones just did something smart, very creative, very intelligent. He literally put his number in the public, and he said the number is still the same as he was doing music back in the day. He said the number is still the same. I go on it was on X. I go on X, or formerly known as Twitter, and I noticed something. The number that he talked about is still active, yet people are already reaching out to him. Hold on. There's a difference between being found, and then there's a difference between being reaching out to. The accessibility comes from you understanding, like, man, if it's easy for people to reach out to you, people are going to reach out to you. So shout out to Mike Jones, because he said he want to be close to his fans. This whole episode is about focusing on your customers. Mike Jones is focusing on his customers' experience, rather his fan base experience. Oh, he does music. He's not in business. Oh, he's a businessman. What he just did is a form of marketing. Why? Because it's easy to reach out to him. Hold on. What it say? Creating search. I can't see that. This dope, bro. I like it. We will share some resources. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Smart church pastor. I appreciate it. And when he started to really put himself out there, and it became easy, people were literally trying to FaceTime him. His phone was ringing. And a number popped up, then another number popped up, then another number. Like, that accessibility, that easy access, I'm like, oh, he got it. Ray, what it do, man? Don't forget to work on what's not working as well will strengthen what is working. It's always ever changing. Ray, hey man, I forgot I followed you, bro. Hey, we about to hit that right now. Appreciate you for joining in, man. And when I started to see that he was actually like, first off, he made a post about it. Then he demonstrated how easy it is to access him. And now people just reach out to him, calling him, message him. They are fans. They were fans before they reached out. But check this out. As they reached out, they became bigger fans. Oh man. All right, Ray, we're gonna go to the what's not working. What's not working. Okay, what's not working for me, at least, is too many reminders. Too many reminders. It was lack of follow-up for the second one, of what's not working, lack of follow-up. And then for the third one, since what's working has 3, I'm gonna keep 3. And then the third one is hold on, let me make sure I got it. So too many reminders, lack of follow-up, and not consistent. What's not working, not consistent. No. In fact, this one, I just thought about this one. The third one is actually taking too long to reply. Taking too long to reply? Oh man. Taking too long to reply. And that alone, okay. and the reason why I'm sharing this is because as a business owner, as a startup business owner, there's so many challenges that a lot of people will talk about. However, you just can't read some things in a book. You have to experience it yourself. And then as you are experiencing the challenges by yourself, you start to recognize like, man, hold on. Like y'all didn't just talk about this. It wasn't in the book. It wasn't in the video. It wasn't in all these different things. And so what's not working is even more important than what's working. Prime example, the first thing I put on was too many reminders. Well, how do I know I need reminders to be sent out? Well, I started to test that out. I started to like put things in place, put like certain reminders, text messages, emails, and I'm trying to figure out the right amount. And the right amount can be the wrong amount. But I don't know that if I don't test it out, if I don't try it, if I don't put it out there. What it taught me is that you have to set reminders, but don't set too many reminders because people can get overwhelmed. And I'll give you a prime example. This past Tuesday, today's Thursday, Monday or Tuesday, I had a meeting. Let's just say I had a meeting at 11:30. In my mind, or on my calendar, I thought I had an appointment at 9:30. And then I had another appointment at 10. So I'm like, oh snap, the 9:30 appointment is gonna go into the 10. Let me reach out to the person to the appointment who at 10 and try to reschedule it to like 12 or 1. So rather 1 o'clock. So that way I'm not rushing the meetings. I did that. I'm communicating. Hey, I think I double booked this time. Can we reschedule for a later time? That was like, yeah, no problem at all. I was like, cool, thank you. The appointment that I thought I had at 9:30. I had at 11:30. So I'm like, oh snap, like I just canceled that for nothing. As a matter of fact, I still got time. Let me reach back out to them. I reached back out and say, hey, I'm actually free at the time that we said that we can meet. Are you still available? And they was like, unfortunately, I'm not. Can we reschedule for a different day? I was like, absolutely, no problem at all. But mind you, before the day of, they was already getting reminders of the conversation that we was going to have. And they was getting reminders like maybe a day before, 2 days before, so that way they can understand the breakdown of the conversation. When I recognized that they was getting so many reminders and it was automated because it's already in place, they got so many reminders, I know it became overwhelming. I get so many reminders because I'm trying to like go through the customer experience, but I get too many reminders. I'm like, bro, I don't know what to keep up with no more. But what that taught me is that one, I'm communicating well. I communicated very well. But if I cancel an appointment let's say I have an appointment today at 9:30. If I cancel the appointment at 9:30, keep it canceled. Don't try to reschedule the same day. Like, no. If I'm going to cancel today, try to reschedule for the following day. Why? Because it removes the overwhelmness. One, Ray say, one is the lack of follow-up due to laziness or the fact that it doesn't fit what you're doing. Two is paying for Google account. Hello. Paying for Google account has saved me on appointments and other important reminders I need for my business. Ray, sound like you are automating a lot of things and you have a lot of systems in place. And I agree with you on the first one. The lack of follow-up is due to laziness or the fact that it doesn't fit with what you're doing. I absolutely agree because it has to fit. But then the laziness part is really understanding, like, man, it's as a business owner, there's so many different components that goes into fact that you have to take in consideration. It becomes overwhelming. So the laziness could be a part of overwhelming. So I definitely agree with you on that one. And then number two, paying for Google account has saved me on appointments and other important reminders I needed for my business. Yes, sir, needed. Hey man, that's why I understand. I definitely get it. And the second one, paying for Google account, has saved me on appointments and other important reminders I need for my business. So many reminders is so phenomenal. I even started doing this. Today is Thursday. I think I did it Monday. I sat down, looked at my calendar, because I have like a workshop that I'm doing every month. I'm like, all right, cool. Since I already have the dates, let me just sit down and block the schedule off. And that helped me because now I'm understanding the reminders. So when you focus on your customers, you are understanding their experience, what they are going through, what they are experiencing, what they are thinking about, what they're not thinking about. Because when you focus on your customers, you make the process easy. You make the journey easy, make it less overwhelming. I recognize that in the book called The Unreasonable Hospitality. In addition to that, there's another book. There's another restaurant book that I read, and they talked about really like making the customer experience not overwhelming and really focused on it when they come into the door, then when they sit down, and then when the server come, and then when they see their food, and then when they see their check, and then like it's so many different components that goes on to that, but they're very intentional behind that. And then the next one. Lack of follow-up. The lack of follow-up, when I go to networking events, I literally have a whole bunch of cards right here. So what's not working is lack of follow-up because, yes, you get so many cards, so many different business cards, and so many people want to work with you and communicate with you and reach out to you. But if you don't follow up, you don't have a business. And so I started to learn that I have to follow up consistently because if I want to do business, I have to do business consistently. And so when I started to see what's not working, I'm like, all right, cool. How can I improve this? When you focus on your customers, you're always asking, how can I improve this? I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he was the owner of a co-working space. And he said every day they come in, they look at the customer experience. What's good? What's not working? What can be better? Something can always be improved. Something can always be something can always be perfected or adjusted or changed. What's not working is so more important than what's working, because what's working, you just keep doing more of. What's not working, you start to adjust. You start to pivot. You start to update your business model, or not necessarily your business model, but your action that you're doing for your business. And when you start to do that, you're focused on your customer. You're focusing on their experience, on their journey, and what it's like when they start to experience you. And then as they are experiencing you, and then when they leave experiencing you, and then, like there's so many different components that goes into business, but it's great to learn because it's not just about marketing. It's not just about finances. It's not just about systems or automations. It's not just about all these different things. In fact, it's about everything. It's about everything. When you focus on your customers, you identify the problem that you need to solve for them. And when you do that, as you focus on the problems for your customers, here's the thing that starts to happen. You start to get pieces put together because now you got systems that's working for you. This right here is called the building blocks. Don't judge the drawing. Don't judge the drawing. This is called building blocks. You have the blocks that you're building and they all connect, because in business there's a lot of things that has to be connected. But when you build your blocks, hold on. When you build your blocks, hold on, comma, you are building your business. You are building your business. There we go. When you build your blocks, you're building your business, because every block has an important factor that has to be considered. And as it's considering it, as you are learning, as you are putting it together, I literally had to update my business model, pivot my business model so many different times. But as I'm pivoting now into a new direction of helping leaders gain more exposure, share their story, and attract the right customers, I'm understanding that it's about helping them really market their business effectively. And so when I see that, when I start to put it out there more, when I start to pitch it out and communicate with people, I'm communicating because I'm hearing the feedback. I'm hearing how they responded to it, what they said of what they are currently doing to gain more exposure and what they're not doing to gain more exposure. And so the lane that I'm creating, or the lane that I'm stepping into, is really understanding that it's not just about a podcast. It's not just about a conversation. It's not just about content. It's more so of focusing on my customer and identifying the problem that they're currently going through or currently focusing on. That alone is going to make me stand out even more, because I'm focusing on the customer. So when you focus on the customer, you start to see things differently. I start to see things differently because I'm focused on the customer. Focusing on the customer means I have to talk to more people, which I have been doing, which I am about to be doing a lot more of, is talking to a lot more people just to see like what problem are they having, what problem have they, what have they done to gain more exposure, how is it working, is it getting them the right customers, is it getting them the right exposure. So that way, as I'm listening to my customers, as I'm focusing on my customers, I'm communicating with them. And as I'm communicating with them, I start to see things differently, because they start to say, I have this problem and this problem has yet to be solved for me. As you focus on your business, you become more effective. As you focus on your as you focus on your customers, you become more effective. As you focus on your customers, you become more efficient. As you focus on your customers, you become a system. I learned this from the 10X movement, and they say an algorithm is basically a system. You're literally training the system on how to operate. In fact, you're training yourself how to focus on your customers. Every detail that matters, every detail that goes into your customer experience matters, because they can either like it or not like it. The person who canceled the meeting, I was like, all right, cool. I immediately was like, how can I do better? How can I improve? And mind you, it's not as many. I haven't had as many cancellations, but yet that cancellation affects the next one, because people can be like, hey man, that service was bad. Hey man, like they wasn't trying to hear my problems or actually help me. Like, no. When that happened, I immediately start to reflect. Why? Because what's not working is so important than what's working. As I start to identify what's not working, I'm like, all right, cool. I need to change. I need to like pivot just a little bit, but keep everything in place, but just update it to the point where it's not overwhelming. I'll give you another prime example. So I have a couple courses online, and yesterday I was like, all right, cool. Let me just test it out. Let me just see, like, go through the experience. Let me try to buy it. And as I try to buy it, let me go through the whole experience. Make sure the emails are working. Make sure the automation is working. Make sure everything is in place to work. I go through it and I'm trying it and I hit submit. I'm like, all right, cool. I got the confirmation. I got, congratulations, you have purchased this. Cool. Then I got another one. Congratulations. Here's the link to the courses. Cool. Got that. But what I didn't have, it's the notifications from the email that I set up. So I'm like, where the email is at? So immediately I reached out to customer service. I was like, hey, listen, like, I just set this up and for some reason it's not working. I'm not sure why it's not working, but it's not working. And so I let's just say I did that at 5 o'clock p.m. yesterday. I was talking to them. I was talking to customer service until like, hold on, not 5 p.m. Let's just say I did it at 8:30. 8:30 around like, yeah, around like 8. Let's just say 8. 8 to 12:30 in the morning. I'm steady communicating with customer service, trying to figure this out. But I'm like, man, I don't know how to fix this. And then they sent me, I reached out to where my domain, my website is held. Then I reached out to them, and then they helped me. Then they walked me through it. But it's like the constant back and forth. Here's the thing. As I focus on the customer experience, as I focus on the customer, I recognize there was a problem through the process, the problem through the experience. There was a problem. There was like a mishap. And I'm literally like, oh, okay, let me get that. Let me fix that. Let me try to reach out to people. Let me try to update it. I don't want to be perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to get to the point where the customer experience is actually pretty good. But I only can do that while the customers are going through the experience. Well, before they go through the experience, and then as they go through it, fix like the minor details for it as well. What does that do? It shows that I care about my customers, that I care about the experience that they're going to go through. So that way, as they are experiencing our products, our service, our business, our motto. Shout out to, I don't know who his name on here. What it say? Smart church pastor. I think that's his name. I can't see his name or whatnot. Mainly because the font is like itty bitty. But shout out to Ray too, and really just understanding like your customer. When you focus on your customer, they are going through a journey, they are going through a process with you, and you have to know that everything that you might lay out, that you might put together, it might be the grand opening of everything, but you have to experience it yourself. You have to go through it yourself and see the minor details that you miss. And I say minor because they're small details that matter the most. There are small details that matter the most. I literally was watching this video on the what's it called? Rolls Royce. I think Royce. I think I'm saying that right. And in the video, they displayed their vehicles, right? So they had so many different vehicles come. In fact, let me draw it out because that was actually a good example of what I had saw. So they had different cars come out. This is not a Rolls Royce drawing. Just to let you know, this is a Terryl Humphrey drawing. This is a Terryl Humphrey drawing. That's what we call that right there. All right, so cool. I'm just going to do 2 cars. Oh, dang, I cannot see that. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, so in the Marine Corps, they talk about covering alignment. And what that means is that you get behind somebody. Let's just say, hold on. I'm trying to demonstrate it. Hold on. Let's just say you're in the line, right? And as you in line, if you're not covering the line to the point where you only see one line, but yet you see 2 lines, you're not covering the line. When you cover in the line, you only see one line. Like when you have 4 different ranks in the Marine Corps, but you get the point. You only see one line, and it goes from like tall down to short, and then when you look from behind, you see short, go all the way up to top. It's one line. It's not 2 lines. It's not multiple lines. People are not offset or to the left, to the right. They are literally right behind each other. Why does that matter? As I was writing this, got busy at the shop. God bless, bro. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate you for support, man. As I started to watch this video about Rolls Royce, I started to notice that they was covering and aligning the cars, which means the more cars that came up, the more they was right behind each other. And if they not right behind each other, they adjusted and made sure that it was one line, that it was presentable. And so they literally, once they got done lining up the cars, Rolls Royce experienced the customer's journey. In other words, they experience what it's like to be their own customers. You have to experience what it's like to be your own customer so you can fix the errors, so you can fix the minor details. This is going to help you understand what to fix and what not to fix and what to work on. Why? Because when you focus on your customers, you start to see what can be improved. As you focus on your customers, you are caring about the small details that a lot of people will overlook. When you catch the details, when you catch the information, you start to position, you start to position your business different. As you are positioning your business differently, you start to recognize that you are focused on your customer journey. So earlier I talked about focus on the first thing that we talked about was identify your customer needs, and then I talked about identifying what's working and then what's not working, and then it's even more important to know what's not working just as much as it is to know what's working, because what's working you do more of, what's not working you can adjust and change for your business. And so the next point that we're going to hit on is that you have to reflect, not reflect in real time. You have to what is it called? Instantly work on the small details. Like instantly work on the small details. And as you are working on the small details, you are improving the things that you often miss, or things that you often overlook, or the things that you wasn't necessarily paying attention to. It's going to help you identify what's working and what's not working when you instantly work on them. Because when you recognize the small details, the small information, you can adjust accordingly to your findings. As you find what needs to be improved, you do it right then and there. You don't wait because you can forget. I started to learn when I see something that needs to be improved and needs to be updated, I need to do it now because I'm going to forget. With all the reminders and technology and automation that I have set up in place right now, it does no good if I don't act on the small details. Why? Because if I don't act on the small details will be overlooked, and now I'm not focused on the customer. And now the customer feels left out. Now I'm not experiencing the journey with my customer. When I started to do that, I started to see a shift in my business. I started to see a shift in how I was helping people. I started to see a shift in how I was helping the customers, or helping my future customers and future guests and people that's coming onto the podcast, people that want more exposure, people that want to gain more exposure for their business. I start to understand, like, well, this is something that's different. It's different because I'm focused on the small details. When you focus on the small details, you will eventually get to the point where you can do it consistently. As you do it consistently, the small details not only become important, they become the forefront. So I have my little notebook here where I write down little tasks to do so I don't forget. What this does is that it demonstrates that you are focused on your customer experience. Your customer experience has to be the focus, because when you focus on your customers start to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. And it took me a long time to recognize this was something that I was building inside of my business, because it's not just about making money. No, making money is the far-fetched goal. The goal is to create an experience so great to the point where people are referring me, people are talking about me, people are joining, and people are saying, like, you need to go learn more about Terrell. You need to go learn more about fair use knowledge. So that way, the experience is talked about. The experience is mentioned, and the experience is the focus, because I'm focusing on the customers. The customer has to be the focus, because at the end of the day, with no customers, you don't have a business. Regardless of the industry that you're in, you have to have customers to serve. You have to have customers to purchase. You have to have customers to be around, because they have to learn more about your business in order for you to actually have a business. Give you a prime example. I got a podcast tomorrow. And what I typically do whenever I have a podcast, like the day before, I research the guests. So that way the experience itself can be good. As I'm researching and I'm studying this person, I'm studying their history, studying everything that they've been through. It positions me differently because I put the time to focus on the customer. The customer is the focus. The customer is the ideal guest. The guest is what makes the difference, because as I'm making the focus around my customer, the experience is felt. And it's felt because it's something that I focus on. When I started to recognize, I'm like, all right, cool. There's a lot of different podcasts out there. In fact, there's over 5 million different podcasts. I'm like, what's going to make me different? I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to have my own lane in the niche of everybody else. In addition to that, I want to focus on something that a lot of people are not focused on. I want to focus on the experience. I want to focus on the failures. I want to focus on how you turn that setback into success. I want to focus on your journey. Everybody that has a podcast are focusing on the journey. But what I recognize that a lot of people are not comfortable talking about the failures. The failures, that goes back to what we talked about earlier. What you're doing good. What I say, hold on, just to be sure. What's working, you have to identify, and it is so much important to identify what's not working so you can work on that as well. The failure is something that didn't go right. The knowledge is something that went right. But in order to turn that failure into knowledge, you have to be willing to look at your failures. You have to be willing to reflect. You have to be willing to talk about the failures. I got on talking about the failure that I recently experienced, was that it was something that I felt that because I might be doing too much of. In addition to that, at least I'm communicating. So I just have to find a balance between it. The knowledge comes from me recognizing the small detail and me adjusting to that instantly. I have to adjust instantly, because if I don't adjust, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to improve. And so what this does, one, it positions me differently. 2, it shows that I focus on the customer experience. 3, it demonstrates the focus on the customer. And when I start to recognize that, I said, oh, I'm becoming a better business owner now. Because I care about the customer's journey. The journey of the customer is the focus, because as it's the focus, I'm understanding where they're at, where they want to go, why they want to go there. The customer has to be the focus. And when they become the focus, your business starts to evolve. It starts to be different. And different is what makes you stand out. And that's the last point that we're going to talk about, is that point number 3 is that you have to be different. You have to be different. 3, have to be different. And the reason why you have to be different, you can't even see it right here. The reason why you have to be different is because there's a lot of people who are in business. It doesn't matter the industry that you're in. It matters that you're in business, but you have to recognize the business that you are in is kind of like everybody else. Everybody has a business. Everybody wants to serve their customers. Everybody want to focus on their customers. But it's not necessarily the product that makes a difference. It's the experience that you create for the problem that you're solving. Hold on. So you got all these different people. Hold on. You got all these different people. And the one who focuses on the customer is the one that makes a difference. Makes a difference. Why? Because the business owner that takes time to focus on their customer's journey, on their customer experience, on their customers, everything, are the ones who care about their customers. They feel cared about. They feel seen. They feel understood because it's intentional. Business has to be intentional. Business has to be consistent. Business has to be a system. If you're intentionally focused on your customer journey would be a lot better than it was if you wasn't focused on it. If you just accidentally focus on it. If you make time to focus on your customer journey, eventually your customer journey will be a lot better than it was before, because you are intentionally doing it with the intent of creating an experience that they never forget. My wife and I, we went to Disney. We went to Epcot, Disney, and then another Disney. As we went there, The experience from when you get in the building, when you get in the park, when you go in and enter the studio or the park, you go in from that moment on. Since you're in the park, you start to feel the experience. Different moments are there. They have people with cameras there who take pictures. They have different locations, different stands, different foods. They literally are focused on the customer's journey, because as they focus on the customer's journey, they understand what the customer needs. And I was like, man, that's a big scale. One day I'm going to be there, one day. But before then, what can I learn from them? What can I see that they're doing? What can I identify and start doing for myself? And so as I started to do that, I was like, oh, they care about the customers. They care about the customer's journey and their experience. And then everything else comes behind that. And so I was like, oh, okay, so how can I implement that for myself? The way I implement it for myself is to focus on my customer experience when I'm about to do a podcast with them, when I'm about to, they're about to become customers to gain more exposure, when they about to gain more sponsorship or be a part of the sponsorship, and or just get daily updates or weekly updates on the conversation that we previously had. The focus on the customers is so important because the product is crafted around the customer. And I started to learn that. I was like, oh, okay, I got to craft it around the customer. I got to focus on the customer and recognize the problem that I'm solving. Once I do that, I'll be able to understand how to help others. And I've done that, and I'm doing that, and now it's helping me learn how to focus on the customers even more. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the one thing consistently and improving the small details. And so this is so incredible because when you focus on your customers, you start to see outcomes that wasn't there. When you focus on your customers, you create the outcomes. You intentionally create the outcomes that will always be there, because as it's there, you start to see what's different for your business. And so to recap, today we talked about why focus on your customers is so important. And we talked about identify what's working, and identifying what's not working is even more important than identifying what's working. Then we talked about you have to instantly work on the small details. Like as soon as you see something that's not working in favor of your customers, you have to find a way to do it consistently on the spot, so that way you're able to update the changes that need to be made. And the last thing that we talked about is that you have to be different. There are a lot of businesses out there, but the ones who focus on their customers are the ones who are different, because the people who focus on their customers are the ones who become different. So let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway on the importance of focusing on your customers. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway. And lastly, make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe. And until next time, remember this one quote: you're only one failure away from you changing your life. So don't be afraid to fail, because failure is knowledge. I appreciate y'all. Leave your biggest takeaway down in the comments on what you think, your thoughts around your focus on your customers. Let me know in the comments, and then I'll see y'all next time.